Hello, Daniel. Sorry about my slight idiocy when it comes to technology. How are you?
No worries, Monty. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, yeah. The pubs in the UK opened yesterday, but I only managed to have 2 pints, so I'm not hungover, which is great. Where are you? You're in Zug or in Copenhagen?
I'm in Zug in Switzerland, yeah, currently.
So tell us about decentralized finance. I think it's a phrase that we've all heard. What does it actually mean? Yeah, I can hear you. What does it actually mean?
So decentralized finance.
Okay, cool. Tell us about decentralized finance. What is it?
Okay, there's a huge lag going on for that. Okay, let's go with it. So decentralized finance is basically, a new way to sort of see finance, because it allows you to basically remove the middleman and then do a bunch of interactions through a smart contract and basically trust math instead of trusting people. So that allows you to actually remove the trust from a centralized party and move it into mathematics and decentralized consensus, which means that nobody is, it's the mathematics that's making sure everything is running smoothly, basically.
Yeah. Please continue. Like, the topic was what the fuck is DeFi, and I felt like that's something that needs a lot of education for newbies in crypto. So please continue what you were explaining.
Sure. So it's basically traditional finance in a decentralized way. So that means you're able to have different interactions with financial applications without actually having a centralized party. So everything is completely distributed, decentralized, and executed via smart contracts, which is like, contracts that are executed on a blockchain automatically without having any central party. That's the trust, basically. So that means you're able to remove a third party. For example, a best example would be a bank. I mean, when you're doing a transaction, or you're taking a loan or doing a trade on a decentralized exchange, then that trade happens on that platform through those smart contracts and not through a centralized party that can sort of, reverse your transactions and do these kind of things. So basically all financial applications you can imagine, but in a completely decentralized way where you're not trusting a central party. I think that would be the most precise way of putting it.
So Daniel, DeFi is a much overused term, right? What does it mean? Is it a crypto term?
I guess so, but it's an abbreviation of decentralized finance. So that means it's basically what I just explained before, that you don't have a central party that's in sort of a control of basically financial applications. So that essentially what it is. But I guess it's sort of become mainstream as well. So everybody's talking about DeFi these days. But there's a lot of really good things happening and a lot of innovation happening. So if you sort of look through the whole hype, then there's a lot of really interesting things going on in DeFi.
Okay, so seeing through the hype, what's the current state of DeFi? Because I've heard a lot of projects have been overhyped, and there's a little bit of a kind of stain attached to DeFi projects. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're in a crypto bull run, so of course there's a lot of hype around DeFi and different types of applications. But if you look at what's happening in DeFi, what's coming in DeFi as well, you're seeing a lot of innovation. So many of the big DeFi platforms you see out there, such as Aave and Uniswap, decentralized exchanges, lending protocols. It's a big deal, and it's going to stay here for a very long time. But they are facing some inherent problems that will be improved in the future, and that comes from the inherent problems of the blockchain scalability and these kind of things, but also lack of privacy and other things that will really be needed to actually onboard big institutions and ensure further adoption that it already has now. Because still it is sort of DeFi is mostly focused on the crypto enthusiasts, and I think we need a catalyst that will sort of bring on institutional adoption as well in a much greater scale than we're seeing already.
So how will that catalyst happen? I mean, I know that Coinbase, the crypto exchange, is going to an IPO today, or well, sorry, tomorrow, I think. Will that be the catalyst, or will it be something else?
That could be a great catalyst from the traditional finance side of it, but I also think that you need to solve some of the inherent problems on the actual blockchain side of it and the DeFi platforms that are currently out there. For example, right now you're seeing big exploitations in the space, for example, with decentralized exchanges, where you have this thing called front running, where you're able to see what kind of trades that are pending or what kind of trades that has been executed because of the inherently public nature of most blockchains. And you're also due to some congestion problems with high transaction fees and these kind of things. That means you're able to analyze for example, pending trades, and then execute another trade with a higher gas fee, meaning that the transaction will execute faster than the pending trade, and thereby being able to front run that transaction to your own benefit. So that's a big thing that's happening in DeFi.
So
Go ahead.
So how do you stop? I mean, how do you stop front running? Maybe with anonymity or secrecy. How do you do it?
So it's definitely going to be a combination of scalability. So you have fast confirmation times, which means that the trades are executed in seconds, whereas it's not. I mean, right now, for example, on Ethereum, you have big congestion problems, high transaction fees. So sometimes the trade can take anywhere between 10 seconds to a couple of minutes, or even more. And that's a big problem, because while that transaction is pending, it's public on the blockchain, which means you're able to analyze it and use it to your own benefit. So I think you're right. You would need inherent privacy, you will need computational privacy, and you would also need great scalability that Ethereum is not seeing currently, but hopefully it will come in the future, because then a combination of both will be an extremely powerful cocktail to mitigate front running and other things needed for a truly flourishing DeFi ecosystem.
Okay, interesting. So would this be something that you personally are focusing on at the moment? Are you doing something in this respect?
Well, I'm sort of contributing to some protocols out there that are really focusing on privacy DeFi aspects of it, the conversational privacy. I think that's going to be huge. So I'm pretty excited about that, and really looking forward to see potentially a catalyst that will come in the future that will make this space, or make privacy DeFi especially, explode. But I do think overall, you're going to see DeFi as a whole grow immensely over the next decades. Basically, it's going to be here for a very long time. Yeah.
Okay, well that sounds interesting. So our audience, I'd imagine, are reasonably au fait with crypto, and the fact that I think Bitcoin went to $63,000 today, and there's a lot of money flying around in the crypto summer. So presumably for DeFi projects, then getting money in or investment in is probably quite a good time to do it now, right? If there's any in our audience that are, setting up their own DeFi company or are in that space, I would imagine that this is a good time to raise money.
It's definitely a great time to raise money, and I do think that I mean, if you're a DeFi starter right now, it will be a pretty good idea to raise money now, because then you have the capacity and the resources to actually innovate when there's a bear market coming for a given period of time, and that's when you can keep innovating at a really high pace as well, and make sure that you'll come out on the other side and not, run out of cash and these kind of things. So I think that's very important. I think that, despite the huge hype you're seeing in DeFi, I think there's a lot of really interesting things happening, especially around privacy, but also around, other things. So I think it's a great time to be in DeFi, to be in crypto, because you're on the cutting edge of innovation, and it's just very exciting.
Are there any projects that you are a particular fan of? Anything going on that you would recommend as a DeFi veteran almost?
I think there's a couple of blockchains. I mean, you're seeing interoperability on the Cosmos ecosystem, for example. I think that's very exciting. Once there's a bunch of blockchains who have built on top of Cosmos, and they will soon become interoperable with each other. So I think that's very exciting that you have this native interoperability across blockchains. You also see in ecosystems like Polkadot, which are doing great, and it's very promising. So I think it's going to be a kind of combination of interoperability, but also the inherent privacy that you're seeing on some of the emerging blockchains out there, such as Secret Network, for example, which is one of the only blockchains who have privacy-preserving smart contracts on mainnet. I think that's extremely exciting.
Oh, absolutely. So kind of blockchain bridges. Or, in my day, in the mobile day, I remember, text messaging all went stratospheric because of interoperability between operators. So maybe the interoperability or the bridges between blockchains, apart from DeFi, I mean, that sounds to me like the most exciting, thing of all, because it brings everything into a kind of consolidated area, and instead of it being a protocol that's, misunderstood, it suddenly becomes something that connects everything up.
Exactly. So that's what this space has been missing for so long. So that's why you're seeing all these interesting solutions coming up, and Cosmos and their sort of whole IBC upgrade, or the IBC is one of the things that will make parts of DeFi interoperable. So I think that's really exciting. But you're seeing the things happening like this different places as well in crypto. So overall, I think that's going to be one of the next big things in crypto as a whole, the interoperability and the privacy aspects of it.
Right. Okay. Well, very interesting. Well, listen, it's a shame that we seem to have to stop now. Bearing in mind someone's internet connection is useless, which might be mine. I don't think so, but you know, the UK may be good at vaccinations, but it's not so good at broadband, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, what the fuck is broadband as opposed to what the fuck is DeFi? Thank you, Daniel, for putting the fuck into DeFi and trying to explain it to our audience. I think I've got a better understanding of it. I hope the audience have a better understanding of it. I'll imagine that you're available if people were trying to try to talk to you. They can find you on all platforms. Of
course, yeah. So I'm on Twitter, which is my first name and last name. I'm on Telegram as well, but mostly Twitter. That's my preferred communication tool. Well,
great. I'll imagine that you're going to get quite a lot of inbound over the next few days.
Thank you for joining us. I know, like, what the fuck broadband, but that was the perfect, topic for this panel. But you're lucky you have your pubs opened. I hope you're going to get a couple more pins, than the ones you already got. You told me earlier. Thank you so much for joining us here today.